Hey guys, it's me. So I have been saying the term buckle up buttercup all weekend, and then I've since heard it twice. So we're gonna do a little reading on like what do I mean by that? Like, what is this energy? It's definitely no doubt that like things have been getting strange. I've been talking about this for like a year, like watching just things that don't make sense, people being more stressful, like us having more changes in our lives. I'm learning to ride it a lot better, which is nice, and hopefully all of you are as the same. And yet it does not seem like we're stopping. I am from Louisiana, and there's an absolute energy to a hurricane, and there's the beginning of the hurricane, and then you feel the eye, and there's like all the crackling tension. You could feel it before the storm. It's intoxicating. Like, I always have to want to be outside for that. And the last couple of years, we've had that stagnancy. We've seen it in our markets in real estate, and we've seen it in all places, just people that cannot make a decision, that kind of an in-between energy, and that feels like the eye of the storm. And on the eye of the storm, the wind's blowing, like it's doing one thing one way and it's doing the different thing on the other way, right? So we're in that eye of the storm, and what it feels like for the last little bit is that we're starting to see the other winds coming in, the winds of change. So let's see what happens. So on the bottom of the deck, we've got the 10 of Cups. I haven't used this deck in a really long time. I'm excited. It has a lot of dragons in it, and I feel like that's the energy that's coming out, a lot of that fire energy. And dragons can be protective or they can be ruthless, kind of depending on what you are, right? They're the most loyal creatures, they're the most connected, and they're also like, again, ruthless. So this is that fantasy energy. So this is like dreaming, wishing more. So funny that this is kind of coming up because the song Goodbye Yellow Brick Road has been coming up for me a lot. And then now that I realize saying that, I've seen a lot of like that, I don't know, I feel like we're starting to see like the man behind the curtain, right? It's that same exact energy of like, what's real? It's two different worlds. Is the fantasy life real, or is the other one real, right? When we're looking at that soul's journey of the characters like Dorothy and everyone, like, you know, the lion had to grow his own courage. The Tin Man found that he did have a heart. Once he learned to love someone, he risked himself. And what was the other, the guy who needed a brain, the Scarecrow, he actually ended up being quite smart. He just didn't know about it, right? He was put in a role to be stupid all day, and so he had kind of laxed on his responsibility. So love what's coming up already. We'll see. So here's our little, and this is an old deck. So I, back in the day, used to do them back and forth. So I'm going to kind of read reversals a little bit, but all right, we'll see. So we've got the Ace of Wands, which is a new adventure. And then this is the card of deception. So what this is telling me is like, these adventures, like it's time for us to find out the truth, right? So we had like adventures in deception, but this is all turning upside down. So what, aren't we seeing this? Aren't we seeing that like we're starting to find out exactly what's going on? These deceptions are coming out. So whether it's things that we want to come out or it isn't, like, you know, sometimes it's scary, but truth is always healing, even if it's not pleasant in the moment. I was going to do today on my story the difference between pain and suffering. Like, we all have pain. Like, we all hurt one another accidentally. I mean, unintended consequences happen a lot, and we're constantly in change. We all know that. The only thing in the universe that's constant is change. And yet, every time that change comes, we all like hold on. So suffering is when we're hanging on to like what was, because we don't want change, right? So whatever it is, let's see what kind of energy comes up. Okay. So we've got the Chariot, which is moving forward energy, and the Chariot is driven by a balanced emperor. In this case, it's a female emperor. And those dragons have got to be going in the right directions. If she's out of balance, one's going one way and one's going the next. The Chariot is a useless vehicle other than if you're trying to like make a statement. So like, you know, the Chariots back in the day, from what I know, I'm no chariot expert, but I believe it's, sorry, I'm having an uncomfortable seat. That chariots were used when you're going into battle and you're wearing like your finest outfit and you're kind of show off, or you'd going into like the stadium after battle, and it's kind of a very showy vehicle. It's not incredibly practical. If this could fall over incredibly easy, but it's kind of like luxury. It's kind of like, you know, you have a top hat, like that top hat is really just for show. A chariot is really just for show. So it's kind of, let's show that we are in balance, right? This is the kind of energy, like people need to see what imbalance looks like. So be that, and be that at the highest level. So if you feel like you've slayed your dragons and you're owning your energy, like we need to see what's happening, that's going on. And then that one's read together with this one, and this is the Sword of Truth. And they always call this Archangel Michael's Sword of Truth. So again, we talked about that a little bit earlier with that card of deception, right? Is we have to know, once we have deception, the 8 of Swords is the card of like a prison of your own making. So maybe once we see we get that one truth, maybe we'll see what the prison of our own making has been so that we can make a different choice. And then the cards in the center, we're getting, this is equal. It's a little bit different. So I think this is like supposed to be justice. Funny because this, again, I don't use this deck. So it's that balance of justice. It kind of looks like she's got the justice. She's got one foot in the water, which is having consideration for love, right? That the water is real. That's a real thing. Our bodies are made up of water. We have got to start listening to ourselves, to our bodies, and giving ourselves justice. And again, balance, right? Our bodies, if our bodies aren't in balance, then neither will our life be. And then we have the Ten of Shields, so 10 of Pentacles. So this is the true abundance, total happiness kind of card, because again, we talked about this is 10 of Cups, which is like fantasy happiness, and 10 of Pentacles is doing what it takes, one pentacle at a time, to get your happiness. So these two together, it's kind of really remarkable. So we have the truth mixed with the Chariot moving forward to our ultimate happiness and justice. So far I'm liking this reading. Buckle up, Buttercup. So far I think it's going to be a good thing. It's just like buckle up and ride with it. So let's see what the next row is. Okay, so next row we've got, okay, so that other card wasn't justice, because here's justice. So that must have been temperance. So that was that patience. So we need to be sitting in our patience. And again, moving forward for our 10 of Pentacles. Sorry about this. Again, I haven't used this deck in a really long time. So here's justice. So when justice comes, that makes me feel like the universe has kind of got our back a little bit. Sorry that I keep wiggling. I was really sitting on something. I think I fixed it now. So this is justice. So, you know, again, he's got that sword of truth. So when it stings, know that the universe is giving you like you're going in the wrong direction. No problem. We don't beat ourselves up. You know, he's not going to chop your head off with this. This isn't Ned Stark, although it kind of looks like it, right? Although, and by the way, we all should be doing our own when we have to like give truth to somebody. We do need to be that Ned Stark, and we need to be the one that's giving that delivery. So maybe that's part of the message, because he totally looks like that, right? It's when justice needs to come, it needs to come from us. And we need to do it in a way that we are proud of and that we own, right? And that's kind of part of that culture too. So very interesting. Very interesting how that comes up. And then we also have the 7 of Cups, and the 7 of Cups is having a lot of options. So that's knowing which one to choose. And notice that there's one that it looks almost the same, but slightly different, the one that's in the center. Whatever option you've been choosing over and over again, if you keep picking the same looking cup, you're going to get the same looking result. So whatever it is, we need to start doing something different. So again, we're putting that sword of truth. It's for us too. We need to, what do we need to know so that we can make the right choice, right? The new choice. And again, it isn't about right or wrong. It's about what feels best for us, because we have to trust that when we do what's right for us, when we put our mask on first, when we model self-care and true self-love and true self-esteem, that we have to trust that we're good people and we want everyone around us to be happy. So the more we have to give and share, the better the world will be, right? Assuming that you do feel that way. And then here's the High Priestess. And the High Priestess, she knows a lot more than she shares. So she's kind of got some powers in there that she's not sharing. And the High Priestess looks different in a whole bunch of different cards, but it's kind of like that, you know, she can be like a lady wizard a little bit, but she's holding her power back. She only shares the best of herself when the time is right. She's not doing that to be showy. She's not needing attention at every level. She's not saying, hey, look at me, this is what I know all the time. She's just kind of holding that. And I honestly, for the energy that we have coming up of this truth energy, like we all have a lot of options. And I think I talked about that last time. It's not going to always be incredibly obvious. The universe is not going to show us the right thing. We have to go into our intuition and find what our truth is. And we have to own the decision that we make based on that truth, right? And yes, it's going to be different. And by the way, those 6 cups, a lot of times 6 of Cups is kind of like our history a little bit. So the people that you were choosing those 6 cups for before that have never been healthy, unhealthy, when we choose cup 7, they're not necessarily going to like it. You don't have to tell them why. It's none of their beeswax, right? No is a 1-word sentence. You don't have to give a reason. You don't have to give an excuse. Doesn't matter. And it's so funny because I almost did a story on reading and on reasons and excuses, right? Like an excuse is you using that reason to get out of something that you should have done. Let's not do that. You certainly can have a reason. Could be a reason for delay. It could be a reason for changing your mind, but we don't tell anybody. No one cares. Nobody cares anyway. So you just make your own decision. You own it, right? You got to chop off someone's head with the truth. You do it. And you do it in a way that you're proud of, because we're not shying away from things anymore. Just because things aren't popular, if it's the right thing, it's the right thing, right? If we're cutting people out of our lives, we don't have to say why. We make whatever choice that we want and we move on. It only matters like when we believe that we are doing it for the right reasons. Okay, let's see our next two. And the next we have, here's another card that I don't know. Again, it's different. So in tarot, like it's pretty much 72 mass-produced cards, 22 major arcana, and then the rest are minor arcana, which kind of matches like a regular deck of cards. Well, every artist is a little bit different. So this one has the Druid. It's card number 5. I'm not quite sure what that one is. I'm like itching to see. I'm thinking that it might be the Hierophant, actually, because the Druid is kind of like that, getting energy from the universe. So maybe that's Hierophant energy. I don't know. Sorry about that. I'll put something in the comments.